Hello everyone, it's Jill Fountain here. Now I am honoured, I'm delighted, and we've been chatting away before we've gone live to welcome you. We've got Jazz Greer in the studio tonight. Let me introduce myself first and then I'll introduce Jazz a bit more and ask him to tell you a little bit more about what he does. I started my business, it's over 30 years ago. It's a long, long time. My children were still in nappies, believe it or not. So if any of you are out there with young children thinking you cannot cope with this and running a business and running a home, homeschooling, the lot, believe me, I'm sure I made it as hard as I possibly could when I first started my business. But I survived it, and here I am 30 years later. I was in the enviable position of being in the toy trade. So my audience were my children's friends and their mums and dads. So I literally could walk down the school gates and sell on my way back, sell on my way down and on my way back. These days I go into, I'm graphic design, websites, marketing, visibility. Visibility is my key thing. You can be the best service, the best product, that you can be the best of everything, but if you cannot be seen or be found, then nobody's going to be able to buy from you. Now let's move over to Jazz. If any of you are any good at dialects, you will notice that Jazz and I, even though we're both in the UK, in England, we come from different parts of the country. Jazz is in Derby, Midlands, and I am one of those people that are down the south. So it's different. We are all different. Although the country is very small to some of the states that you are all in, we are we're all very different within the UK. And Beth, thank you so much for joining us. Hello, it's lovely to see you again. Jazz, tell us a bit about you. Give us a little bit of an insight, because I know a lot about you, but you tell me.
Well, just talking about where we are in the country. So I'm actually an Irishman living in England. So I don't have a Derbyshire accent. So as we talk, people will probably pick up a little bit of, they think it might be Scottish or Devon or all sorts of things. But somebody actually once thought I was Welsh.
Really?
But I think that was in the pub, so I think they probably had a bit too much alcohol. So yes, but talking about Ireland, you might have known about the actor Liam Neeson.
Oh yes,
yes,
he's a favourite of mine.
Well, Liam Neeson was my next door neighbour growing up. I have to point out he is quite a bit older than me. Definitely.
Wow.
So our garden just went into their garden, and it used to see him all the time. So rubbing shoulders with the rich and famous. There's a fact you didn't know.
You never. Well, I didn't know that for sure.
And
but yes, go on.
James Nesbitt.
Yes,
he used to come to our house after school because his mum worked at the bottom of the road in the housing department office, and he used to come and we used to play with each other until his mum finished work at 5:30. So two famous people.
Oh, you'd win hands down of who you know and where you know them from.
And another one for you, really? One. Yeah,
and
there's more,
Really?
When I moved over in 1987, I was a professional musician in a 3-piece rock band that toured the UK and Europe. And we were doing a recording down in Eastbourne at ICC Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And in the studio next to us was Mike Reid from Radio 1. This was back about 1989 time.
Yeah.
And he was interviewing the one and only Paul McCartney.
Oh, wow.
And not only did we meet them and listen to Paul McCartney in his lunchtime playing a few songs on the piano, but both of them came in to listen to the demo songs that we were recording. So there's 4 famous people for you.
Whoa. Those are great memories, aren't they? Your children
Absolutely.
must love it. All these stories that you tell them round the dinner table.
Well, I haven't really told that many, to be honest. But yeah, well, you just grew up with it. You get used to it, don't you?
Well, some people might, but I think that's amazing. I think that is breathtaking, actually. Yeah, and a musician. What did you used to play? But actually, we've got a few people here. And Beth saying, "Wow, a magician. I played alto and tenor sax in a jazz band in high school and college." So,
Wonderful.
what did you used to play, Jazz?
I was the noisy one. I was the one on the drums.
Oh yeah, that is
Yes,
noisy.
the
We
mad animal one.
we had a house full of drummers. The children, as they hit their teens, decided. My daughter decided she was going to buy a complete set of drums, which lasted us a good 3 or 4 years, being practiced on by one or the other children. And yes, it was. Our house was quite musical, but actually not in the musical sense, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
They did try very hard, but anyway, if you've got children, I don't believe that you can have a silent household, can you?
Absolutely not.
Um,
Absolutely not.
so how did you transition from what you were doing into where you are today?
Okay, so one of the things that has always been a feature of back home in Ireland is being doing community work, just being part of the community. So I was involved in different bands, pipe bands, Scottish bagpipes,
Yeah,
competitions. But also, being brought up in church, we were involved in Boys Brigade and different
yeah.
sports. And my dad, he actually lost his sight when I was 2.5 months old.
Oh,
So my mum had to give up work because obviously I was around.
yeah,
And so used to go with my dad to the disabled clubs and things. And we're always involved in fundraising various things. So it's always about people. So whenever I moved over here in 1987, spent about a couple of years touring around UK, Ireland, around Europe, which all sounds very fancy, but when you're in a van and you're playing at night and you get up the next morning and you don't really see many of the sights or anything. You've got it on your visa, you've got it on your tour list, but you don't really see Paris and all these places really. But so we did that for a couple of years, and then that was around the height of the recession during Thatcher's time and
oh
things.
yes, I know. I
Um,
remember that.
and I had, before I moved over, I'd been working in stock control stores, dispatch back home in factories and things. So I was unemployed for a good probably 18 months or
Oh,
so.
oh,
And it wasn't the case of you couldn't get a job because you didn't have the skills. It was because I had too much experience and skills, so they
yes,
wouldn't employ you because you'd probably only be there a few weeks or months and you're
yeah,
off. So
yeah.
that's worse. You can upskill yourself through training, but how do you de-skill yourself to get the job?
Well,
Um,
no,
but it was an eye-opening experience, which helped down the line. But then Tesco's came to Milton Keynes, where I was at the time.
oh
So I
yeah,
got involved. I got a job there in stock control, worked through into management, moved down south to a new store opening and worked around that area, and then eventually moved up to Derby, which would be about 26 years ago now.
yeah.
And when I moved up, I didn't really have a job to move to. I just moved,
Wow.
because I was supposed to get a transfer with Tesco's, but it was taking far too long. So I just decided I'm just going to go. Well, when you're young like that, you do things like
You
that,
do,
Jill.
don't you?
I stuff this. I'm just
Oh
going to go
well,
anyway.
something will turn up.
So I did some work with a church in Derby, voluntary with youth projects and things, and got a job at night at East Midlands Airport for DHL unloading the
Yeah,
aircraft. And
yeah.
boy, in the middle of summer, it was ice cold in the
Really?
middle of the night. Yes, and as the winds were blowing, 'cause it's so open and things. So interesting job. But through that, I got a phone call from somebody about working for this like social enterprise that was
Mm,
doing community development work, community safety work, and I
yeah.
started there doing that. Never done it before, but good at getting on with people. That's the main skill you need. So started running these projects, reducing burglaries in the area and different things. It's all about communicating with neighbourhood watches, and then did some business development for the building side of it and some marketing. And that built up and got a few £1 million worth of contracts in for the
Ooh,
social enterprise through that. So it's a nice variety of all sorts of things.
yeah.
And uh, and from there, back in 1st of March 1998, which is coming up in 24 years now,
Mm,
government contracts were finishing. We had the Labour government coming in 97, which meant a lot of the big programs and funding was like in limbo until they decided what they were doing.
yeah.
And my contract was coming to an end. And people said, "What are you going to do?" And so I'm just going to go self-employed. And they said, "You can't do that." And when somebody says to me, "You can't do that," well, that Irish
Well,
stubbornness
guess
comes
what?
out, it's like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So I did, and started off with this about 4 hours a week, helping to manage a youth project and
Mm,
outreach worker. And 6 months went past and no work came in other than that. And I said to my wife, I said, "Well, what's the worst that can happen? Go and get a job, you know."
yeah.
And then, just as I were thinking, well, probably might have to do that, then I got this call: can you do a training needs analysis? Can you do a business plan? Can you do a funding bid? And honestly, after that 6 month mark, I had so much work,
Wow.
like 9, 12 months ahead.
Mar-
And my wife left her job as an administrator at the church to
All right.
join me. Like, and that was beginning of what, 1999, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And since then we've just not stopped,
Really?
really.
Wow. And
So
you've
that's
had
how.
2 children on the way, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. Um, and so at any one time, we might have been juggling 12, 15 different contracts, and everything from running big community fun days that attract 3,000 people to doing exit strategies for this program, helping this social enterprise to get set up legally, doing business plans, doing work for the old like Business Link, where you've got charities, social enterprises that
Yeah.
are ready to close, going in and doing rescue work. So
Oh,
all of that, but within all of that, Jill, was that ability to connect with people and the ability to communicate. We communicate in those days through newsletters to like
mm,
5,000 households every week and things. So
mm.
we marketed the old way,
Yes,
letters,
so did we.
posters, and newsletters, and
Cost a
but
fortune, didn't it?
oh, it did,
Oh,
and think of the rainforest that was diminished through our efforts as well. Oh dear, um, and then as you know, obviously you've got email, but as like social media and websites became more popular, just started to transfer all those relational skills
mm,
into that digital realm. And I was also like an accredited business advisor dealing with startups, specialised in social enterprises. So there's a whole load of things going on, big programs and all. But when we developed the big employability program, um, we were able to get people in on the program and into work because
Mm.
we didn't sit there like other employment programs where they sit and wait for the job center to ring and say, I've got this person, I've
Oh
got
yeah,
that person. We were out there knocking on doors. We were tapping into the networks we developed. We were using social media, etc., way ahead of other people. And we were getting we worked with over 2 years with over 1,300 people from the
wow,
hardest to reach groups. And the target was to get 10% into work. Most people were getting 2-3%. We were getting 13% moving into
back
work.
to work.
But
Wow,
that was all about connecting. It was all about communicating. It was going and finding the people. So it
yeah,
was that outreach. It was that breaking new ground. So when back about 12 years ago, when government changed again, there's always that landmark where it's
yes,
confusion for a few years. And
yeah,
again, the big employability program had to wind down because the funding was
yeah,
tailing off and
remember.
things. So we went from having up to about 30 people working for us down to one person 16 hours a week. So I know how to build an organization. I also know how to
How
have to
quickly? Yeah,
dismantle it again.
yeah,
But what we always wanted to do, Alma and I, was to work with small businesses as we saw it then.
mm,
And obviously, you come and you start networking and talking with people and things, and saying, well, you really need a business plan, you really need a marketing plan, you need processes, etc. And people saying, yes, we do need that. But I see you on Twitter. Can you show us how to do that? I see
yeah,
you on LinkedIn. I don't know. How do I get started with that?
I know.
And I was coming in thinking, well, we need to do this, this, and this.
Yeah,
But the market, the
I'm
people
telling
who were
you,
there to serve, were saying, yeah, we know we need to do that, but can you show us how to do this?
I know.
So getting into social media, digital marketing, that type of communication and community building, um, it was by chance, not by design.
Yes.
So
Well,
quickly move from that into, yes, putting on like how to use Twitter and LinkedIn and
mm,
workshops, and then one-to-one, and then managing companies accounts and doing campaigns and all. But what we were able to do was, when we engaged with someone where they wanted to connect and go on that journey, as well as doing the social media, the marketing, etc., we were then able to embed those business principles. We
yeah,
were bringing in a portfolio of like management consultancy, direct sales and market, all that expertise that was
mm,
adding real value, that people were getting results
mm.
that you and I both know there's a lot of charlatans around, especially social
Oh,
media,
tell me.
keep one step ahead of everybody, and they don't have that type of background. So it soon became clear to people, these people can actually make a difference because they know what they're doing and they're bringing something that nobody else is bringing.
Yeah.
And that's how we've come to this point in time, really, Jill.
Well, and it's also about talking to people in the language that they understand, so that you're not talking too high a level, because if
That's
you
right.
talk too high, you see them glaze over, and you've lost them, haven't you?
You
I've,
have, yeah,
I've been in rooms where I've said I'm marketing, and I have seen several people just go switch off.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
marketing. So you
That's right.
have to talk to people and talk with people, communicate with people at a
Yeah,
level that they find easy to understand, even though we think, oh, everyone knows that. Well, everyone doesn't know that.
no, no.
No,
You don't assume,
you
because
shouldn't know. I've
you make
learnt
an
that at
ass
the
of you and me, assuming.
event. Yes, that's right. But this has really all stemmed from the community side of it,
Yes,
hasn't it?
yeah,
That it's
yeah.
always you and your what,
Alma, yeah, that's
Elmer
right.
have always done. Um,
Yeah,
having that community, that support system as well, just opens up loads of opportunities. And I think being on LinkedIn also is a way of opening up opportunities. But before we get onto LinkedIn, do tell me more about the business connection that you do, because that's another
Yes, that's another
area.
string to the bow. Yes. Business Connection is now 3 years old. Last month, January actually, and we've been running networking even when we're doing all those programs with multi agencies and things, different networks, forums, and then moving into the business networking scene. Done it for years. I've been like group leader for different networking groups and running it for different organizations. And we just came to a conclusion, Alma and I, that people don't realize when you're running networking how much you have to put in and how much it costs, not just in time and effort, but your let's call it your social currency, because you're inviting people and they're coming because of you, not because of the networking brand. So you're spending a lot of that goodwill and social currency. And we were thinking to ourselves, we're not getting anything from this. We're getting loads of things for everybody else.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And at the end of it, you think, sometimes you don't even do your own 60 seconds because you're so busy serving everybody else.
Yeah.
And people are not coming to us really about things. They're going to other people in the room. And it's like, we thought, this just doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
And running a social enterprise in Derby, we've got the Community Enterprise Centre. So we thought, well, we've got the building. We've already been doing it for other people. We're just going to do it ourselves. We've got a massive network. Yeah. So we want to do it the way that we feel it needs to be done. And we called it Business Connection because it's about business, but it's about people connecting. And we did it differently. We start off with a buffet. And we have the mix and mingle. We've got your introductions. We were doing one-to-ones, but we were doing it from a place of allowing people that space to talk about their business, explore opportunities, whereby, what it's like with a lot of networking, you go and you do your 60 seconds and you spend the other 59 minutes listening to everybody plus a speaker plus some top tips. And you think, what have I done? But with Business Connection, it was very interactive, very fast paced, like a magazine show, we used to call it in days gone by. And we had things like the hot seat. So we would just say, right, okay, Gill, you come up, you're in the hot seat. No warning, and ask you about your business, ask questions so we get. But that was the best.
You know your business, don't you? And firing questions, it just comes naturally.
60 seconds is not enough to get across. So asking the questions, and when people are on the spot, you actually get the truth. You don't get preconceived things. And people in the room then got to know that business in a couple of minutes of questioning and talking about their achievements and what they could do for people and all. So we were using different techniques and actually having music going the whole time, which
I love that.
It's like you create an atmosphere and an ambience.
Well, you created it before they've even sat down, really, haven't
Absolutely. You? And Alma's great at organising events and all. She thinks of all the different things and where people sit and all of that. So that worked really, really well. And then obviously we had COVID, March 2020, which we had already been thinking about doing a bit of a hybrid, people coming in via Zoom, into the room, because we were people that wanted to be part of Business Connection but couldn't travel. But we had to move totally over. And when we did that, the first thing we did was we continued to charge. We didn't do it as free. We continued to charge.
Right. So how did that go down?
Not an issue. It totally sold out the whole of lockdown.
Because I did hear that some people charged and it didn't go down very well.
Well, we had already been charging, and we had put the prices up in the in-person, um, and we maintained that. But what we did was is we added more value in
Mm.
online.
Yeah.
So we had like we got up to 5 or 6 10-minute one-to-ones,
Oh, yes.
group discussions, the breakout, the 60
Yeah.
seconds, connecting on LinkedIn, a whole host of things. So we got up to the extra format that ran for 2.5 hours,
Oh, wow.
and it was like £25.
That's a long time for a network.
It seems
But
it,
it
but
flies, does it?
it's so you don't have time to go to the toilet almost
Ah!
within it. You do a couple of breaks, but people didn't notice the time flying. But because people were meeting people,
Mm,
and having like 5 one-to-ones with people, by
mm.
the end of it, they would have spoken directly to at least 10 people. Now, if you take a 60-minute networking where you do your 60 seconds, you know, 1 minute you talk about your business, 59 minutes you sit and listen.
Yes.
In the format that we had, 75% of your time was talking about the business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
therefore, greater return on investment. And we
Yeah.
worked out if you got 5 one-to-ones and it's 25 quid for the whole event, we look at value-based pricing.
Yes.
You're getting in front of somebody to talk to them for 10 minutes about your business, obviously 5 minutes each way,
Hmm.
for £5. You couldn't do that through your
No.
natural lead generation. So we, if people say, "Well, that's a bit much," so well, this is what you get. Can you
Yeah.
get better value? And what we actually found straight away, Jill, was it took us 10 times more hours to do the online format than it did the in person.
Really?
Yes. Because if you think you're using Zoom rooms, if you're
Yeah.
setting up 5 one-to-ones, you get 25 people there, you've
Yeah.
got to set all of that up in advance. You've got to set the rooms up.
Yeah.
Sod's law, somebody's got to drop out and it resets everything. There's so much organization, not just the promotion, but getting all of those choices in and getting
Yeah.
it all set up. It took two of us to run it. I would be presenting,
Yeah.
Alma would be
I
working
find that I
Zoom.
need the extra pair of hands.
Yes, and all of that was taking about 10 times more than what we would
Wow.
normally do.
Wow.
Um, so in terms of that, it wasn't cost effective, but we still delivered it. And over that, 18 months
Yeah.
period,
Yeah.
um, we had probably around 125 businesses that participated.
Wow.
And to our knowledge, every one of those businesses came through lockdown and they're busy
Oh,
with
brilliant.
work. So it was a vital service, and we
Yes.
built in business support. I gave 5 minutes or whatever on
Yes.
what to
Yeah.
do in business and look at resilience and how to address different issues. So
Yeah.
there's a lot packed into it. So business connections where we outwork our passion of working with small businesses. And small businesses isn't really right, it's micro enterprises, because most of them are sole traders,
Yeah.
self-employed, maybe one or two employees, and
Yeah.
they actually make up about 88 to 90% of the local economy. um,
Yes.
and
True.
they often get left out of government funding and support.
Mhm.
So we use business connection not just to network. It's more than networking. It's building a community. It's giving people peer support, business advice, input. So it's a
Mm.
whole mix there. So we're
Yeah.
still continuing what we're doing, the community development engagement, but
Right.
specifically in the micro enterprise market, this is what we do through business connection.
So what do you do now? Have you gone back to hybrid where you're doing um, partly virtual and partly face to face, or have you got that to build onto yet?
No, we are now moving back to in person as of
Mm.
18th of March next
Yes.
month.
Yeah.
And we are getting people that are traveling, a good hour and a half to be
Oh,
there.
I know.
But what we noticed was from last summer, we predicted that really from September you would see a nosedive in networking, and that's happened. So
Yes, I've
numbers
seen
are
that.
dropping off the face of the earth,
Yeah,
online, etc.
yeah,
So we've gone back, and we're now actually with the bookings that have been coming in. There are a lot of people that didn't participate during that 2 years on the online,
hmm,
that they're the first ones booking in. So there's a
yeah,
whole market that's not we've got a service the past couple of years that now are coming out, and a lot of people online locally are
yeah,
now booking in person. So there's a change, and you've got to predict these changes and try to be ahead of that curve.
yeah,
And that's why we're doing what we're doing. We're responding to where the market is,
yeah,
and people want that in person
yeah. I
contact
do.
and interaction.
So, do you find that as we move back into the in-person side of things, that you're more picky about the networking that you do? Because to give my opinion, I've I used to go off and do lots of networking, but
Hmm.
I'm really choosy about where I spend my time now.
Yeah, yeah,
I, you know, gone are the days where I want to spend 3 hours to spend, like you said, 60 seconds to talk
yeah.
about my business. I've got to really analyze my spending and the time that I'm taking to get there. And I'm quite willing to drive a couple of hours to get to
Hmm.
the right meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really people now, because of the pandemic, are, I think, a lot more focused on why they're in business, who they're there to serve, and in turn, that determines who they need to connect with and
Yeah.
build relationships with.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
networking it can often be very social, and there is a role and place for that, because if you've got people who are working from home all the time, or they
Mm.
don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
staff and they're isolated, it's a great
Yeah.
way for their mental health and sanity as well. um but I think now people are choosing networking. One, they're busy. Two, they're thinking, well, um do I really need to make that journey? Do I need to give up 2 hours of my time, where it's nice to see the people, but it's not business critical?
No.
And I think, I mean, one of the things, I was analyzing why there's a change in networking, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I think is, has happened is if you go networking, say once a week, like
Yeah.
most of us do,
Yeah.
you will probably meet about 12 new people a month, make about 12 new connections.
Yeah.
Over the year, say over 10 months, that's 120 people. And that's how we built our business. And you
Mm.
expand your
Vision. Yeah.
network, you have your one-to-ones, etc.
Yeah.
Between September and November, 3 months in 2020, with
Yes.
doing online networking, that's all there was then, I had made over 300 new connections.
There you go.
Now, technically, I did in 3 months what naturally you would do in 3 years of networking. Now,
Yes.
that's fine if you've got thousands of new businesses coming in, but you don't. So I think we're going to see networking online and in person being lower numbers for about 12, 18 months, because people have just gone through all the possibilities. Now,
Yes.
they've not done it properly, because a lot of people just literally, got attendees lists like you would get business cards, and
Yes.
they've not worked it. There's not a one-to-ones
No.
or whatever, but they feel, oh, I've done all of that. There's nothing new and fresh for me. Whereas those of us that are a little longer in the tooth and more experienced think, well, actually, I'll stick with that networking, because I can go deeper with those people rather than always new people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the quick win, is it?
No, no,
Networking is not a quick win.
no,
Business is actually
it's not.
business is not a quick win, is it? You've got to be in for the long haul.
When you start a business, you've got to factor in it could be 12 to 18 months before you get your first customer piece of business.
Yeah.
If you can do it in 6 to 9 months, that's really good. Somebody that started during the pandemic, it's taken 2 years for networking to produce,
Yeah.
decent referrals and actual business.
Yeah.
And they've done really well
Yeah.
because considering everything, they've done a fantastic job. But yes, it takes time.
It
Um,
does. But
and
I find that the clients that come on board after a long-term build of friendship, relationship, the getting to know you, it's so much easier to do business with them.
absolutely, yeah.
It just flows. There isn't any of the, you do get clients where they just think, oh, there's just so much, this is a headache.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the people that you've got to know long term over a period of time,
Yeah,
it's just a joy to work with them.
absolutely. And
And when we
I've
come
got,
to, sorry,
I
Brian.
was just going to say, I've got people coming to me that I've known for 4 or 5 years, and it's
Yeah,
only now that they're ready
yeah.
to do business.
It's all about timing.
It's a long time.
It is. Um, and we both teach and work with businesses on LinkedIn, don't we? And
We do.
LinkedIn, again, it's not a quick fix, LinkedIn,
Nope.
but it absolutely works for the opportunities and the business that you can get out of it if you know how to do it
Yes.
properly. If it's
Absolutely.
not a game, it's,
Yeah.
you do have to take it seriously.
You do.
But I want to, at this point in time, Jazz, I hope you don't mind, but I want to talk to you about your Get LinkedIn Working for You. And I'm going to share the screen because that banner that we've done, it will come up. And perhaps you could just give us a few minutes on that, and then we'll say goodbye to everyone. But bear with me whilst I get this up on screen, and perhaps you can talk us through it. There you are. Now, this is your Get LinkedIn Working for You.
Yes.
And you're doing a 3-hour masterclass, aren't you?
Yeah, and it is a masterclass. That's a word that's used at the minute for people that want to give you, 5 top tips, and that's not a masterclass.
Yes.
Yes, it's a 3-hour masterclass, and it's not about what I would refer to as the bells and whistles of LinkedIn. There are plenty of people that will show you, what button works and what's in the settings and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is focused on lifting the bonnet on LinkedIn and how does the platform actually work. And it's driven, like all social media platforms, by an algorithm, which is a bit like the receptionist that you want to get to the managing director and you can't get past the gatekeeper.
No.
So the algorithm determines everything. And what I teach in the masterclass is, what does the algorithm know? What's it looking for? What do you need to feed it? What do you need to do and have in place? Because people think it's the post that gets them the business, but actually it's not. That's the last piece in the puzzle.
Yes.
If you don't know that your social selling index needs to be at a certain level to get you increased reach, if you don't have the right connections, if you don't interact in certain ways, there are loads of things there before you even get to the post that you've got to understand, because that determines how much reach you're going to get. And in business, you can be the best in your field. If you can't get in front of the people that need that service, that have got that pain, that have got that challenge that you can enable them to overcome, you're not going to be in business. So I focus very much on teaching Gill about the algorithm, what we need to do, how we need to feed it, how we work with it to get it working for us. Hence the title, Get LinkedIn Working for You.
Yes.
And once we learn that about hashtags and various other things, then when you actually post, one, you'll spend only about 20% of the time that you're currently doing, but you'll have posts which will get you potentially a lot more reach than you would before you learned the techniques, etc. And you spend less time posting, and you'll also start to get in front of the right audience, not just getting reach. That's one part. The main thing is reaching the right people that you can do business with. So the 3-hour masterclass is recorded. People get 14 days after the masterclass
Oh, yeah.
to view the recording, because you got to go through and take your notes because there's so much packed in. And then roughly 28 days after the date, we get together for an hour and feedback, see how people are applying the learning, answer questions, etc. So a bit of accountability, because to me, and I know you share this passion as well, there's no point in doing training or learning things if you don't implement it, if you don't apply it. So it's a 3-hour masterclass, but it's over that 30-day period. You are applying that learning. How are you going to do it in your business? Have you got a challenge there you need help with, etc.? And that's what we do. So it's a little bit more than just 3 hours. You need to come. First of all, you need to be on LinkedIn. You need to be using LinkedIn, and you need to be prepared to make the investment of not just money for the masterclass, but the time and the time afterwards to apply that learning.
I do think that, I think we've had this conversation, haven't we? The meeting afterwards is so important, where you can come along and get the backup, ask the questions, and make sure you're not doing the wrong thing, that repeating the mistake each time, because you'll pick up on that when we pick up on it, and because we're watching out for it all the time, we know what we're looking for. Whereas if you're a novice, if you like, you just don't know. You just don't know. And I've done this. I'm going to stop the share, Jazz.
That's all right.
I've been to things, and I've repeated an error, not really understanding what I was doing, and then suddenly it clicks, and you realise how bad you've been at something. It's a little bit of knowledge can go a long way sometimes, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
But your masterclass, I know, is going to be amazing. So if anybody is interested, I will put the link in personally underneath our video today, so that you can book on to Jazz's masterclass on the 2nd of March, which is coming very quickly, isn't it?
2 weeks time.
2 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks
time is flying.
Yes. And I'm so glad you've put all the different time zones in there as well, because that's another thing that we all get mixed up with all these different time zones.
Indeed.
So, Jazz, I'm going to call it a day because we've overrun, and I'm sure everybody's not going to mind. We've got some lovely comments here. If anybody's coming in to watch afterwards, please put #replay, and we will ask any questions that you want, because we'll certainly come back and answer them. In the meantime, thank you very much, Jazz. It's been an absolute pleasure, as ever, talking to you. We could go on forever. We know that.
We could.
But thank you very much. Stay around, because I'd like to have a quick chat afterwards. But thank you, everyone, for watching. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you this time, same place, same time next week. Stay safe. Bye-bye.